I'm 15 now, and this just happened recently. I live with my parents in a normal neighborhood. We used to live in the same house for a long time, but last year, after I finished high school, my parents thought we should move somewhere else. So we went to a new place a few hours away from the busy city. It felt strange leaving the place I knew for so long. The new house was really different from our old one. There were still neighbors, but there was more space between each house, and there were woods everywhere. After a few weeks of settling in, my parents went on their usual yearly trip, leaving me alone in the new house. I was old enough to handle it, but it felt weird being all by myself, especially during summer when there was no school to keep me busy. The first day was fine. I spent it watching videos on YouTube and Netflix. But the next day, I was chilling on the porch when I saw a guy near our driveway. He was a bit far, close to the trees, but it looked like he was looking at me. I said hi by waving, thinking he might live nearby, but he turned away fast and went off. It felt weird, but I didn't think much of it and went back inside. The rest of the day, I played video games and had a fast dinner from the freezer. That night, I couldn't sleep. It was maybe 1 or 2 in the morning when I heard footsteps downstairs. It was super quiet. Then, I heard the front door creak open. I got really scared and didn't know what to do. I went to my door, locked it, and hid behind my bed, my heart beating fast. I heard the footsteps moving slowly around the house like someone trying to be sneaky. I was really scared and couldn't move. I was really quiet, and then I heard someone coming up the stairs toward my room. I got really scared, and my heart was beating really fast. I saw a shadow under the door, and it stopped right outside. I held my breath, thinking they might find me. But after a bit, they went away, probably to my parents' room. I didn't hear their door open, so I think they stopped outside and listened. Then they started coming back to my room, but the shadow went by and the footsteps quickly went down the stairs and out the front door. I stood completely still for a long time because I thought someone might still be hiding and trying to trick me. After gathering my courage, I quietly walked downstairs. The front door was wide open, but there was nobody around. I phoned the police and my parents, but they didn't find many clues. To be safe, we changed the locks and made our home more secure. But we never found out if it was the same person I saw before or someone different. We don't even know why they broke in or what they were trying to do. That night was really scary, and it still makes me nervous when I think about it. But I'm relieved nothing worse happened. After the break-in, I felt really anxious. I couldn't stop worrying that someone might try to break in again. One evening, while I was playing games in the living room, I heard a noise outside. It sounded like something moving in the woods, but I couldn't see anything. I tried to ignore it, thinking it might be an animal, but it kept happening. I really wanted to know, so I took a flashlight and looked outside. At first, I didn't see anything, just the sound of leaves moving. But then, I saw something shiny out of the corner of my eye near the edge of the trees. I went towards it carefully, feeling super nervous. And guess what? Under a bunch of leaves, I found a little box. I got really curious when I found a box hidden in the woods. But then I started feeling a bit careful. I mean, why would someone leave a box there? I wasn't sure if I should open it, but I did. Inside, I found some really old stuff, pictures, letters, and a piece of fancy jewelry. They looked super old, like they're from a long time ago. One of the letters talked about a family that lived in our house a long time ago. All of a sudden, I realized something important. The person I saw might be linked to some old things. Maybe they were searching for something specific. It felt like I accidentally found clues to a secret treasure hunt. I spent a long time learning more about the house's past. It turns out, the house had a really interesting history. There were stories about a hidden treasure hidden somewhere on the land. Lots of people had been looking for it for a long time, and some thought it might not even be real. The more I read, the more I thought the break-in wasn't just random. Maybe someone believed there was real treasure and wanted to find it. But why would they break into our house? It was getting really strange. I chose to hide the box and not tell anyone. But I still felt uneasy. I couldn't stop thinking that there might be more to our new house than we knew. And the person I saw? Maybe they were searching for the treasure, like in old stories. It made the break-in seem like it was part of a bigger mystery. When I was 19, my family moved to a new house. It was really nice. Had 2 floors, 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and something special for our neighborhood, a basement. My parents worked in medicine, so I spent a lot of time at home, especially when things got crazy during the pandemic. One really hot day in July, I was by myself at home, playing video games with my friends online. We were having so much fun, laughing and acting silly. When you're 19 and alone at home, it kind of feels like the house is all yours. Suddenly, the phone rings when we weren't expecting it. We rarely got calls, and when we did, they were usually from my dad. He had warned me not to answer because of scams, so I didn't. But then it rang again, really quickly. My friends online encouraged me to pick up, just in case it was something important. I answered the phone, but there was someone breathing strangely on the other end. I kept saying hello, but they didn't talk, just kept breathing. I got scared and hung up, but the phone rang again. This time, I felt irritated and asked what they wanted. Then, they said something that really scared me, like, "I'm waiting for you downstairs, Danny." I got scared because someone called me, but it wasn't anyone I knew. Later, I told my parents about the scary call. My dad, who was really strong, checked the house and found another phone on the floor, and the kitchen window was broken. The police came, but they couldn't find out who did it. We were surprised because we got a call from California, but we didn't know anyone there. Then, on September 14, 2022, Dad got a call from the police. They caught the person who broke into our house. But here's the surprising part: it wasn't just an ordinary thief. This person did some really bad things in the past. He used to break into houses where there were kids or people who were by themselves. Once, he broke into a house while a girl was alone at home. Her parents were out celebrating their anniversary. He got in through a window, went upstairs, and something really, really bad happened. It was just terrible. He had been doing bad things to people for a long time, picking those who were easy to target. The police finally caught him, but it was scary to imagine what might have happened if they hadn't. Now, that's the main story. But there's another spooky thing that happened in that house. One evening, I was in the basement searching for a book when I heard a strange noise from behind the wall. It sounded like scratching or tapping, happening in a pattern. I didn't think much of it, figuring it was just some odd noise from the house. During the next few days, I heard that strange noise again and again. It happened at different times, and only when my parents weren't there. It felt spooky, like the house had a heartbeat. One night, I felt curious and tapped on the wall where the noise was coming from. Right away, the tapping stopped. I tried it few times. Every time I tapped, the strange noise went away. It was really weird. I told my parents, but they said it might be a normal thing in our old house. But one day, we discovered a loose part of the basement wall. We removed it and found a small, secret room inside. We found old toys, a diary, and a picture of the family who lived here before us. They had a kid who used to play in the basement. The tapping noise we heard was like a game they played, a secret signal between the kid and their parents. It gave me goosebumps, knowing there was this secret part of the house with its own special story. That house has a lot going on. The break-in was really scary, but finding out about its secret history was surprising. It made the house seem kind of mysterious. It's weird how a house can have so many interesting stories. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face, or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. My grandma and grandpa died, and their old house was empty. We thought about letting someone live there, but it was too old and broken for anyone to want it. For a long time, our family couldn't choose what to do with it, so it stayed there, getting more and more broken. One day, while going through my mom's stuff with my aunt, we found a really old photo book. My mom used to travel a lot, and we hadn't been getting along for a while. In that book, There were pictures of us when I was a baby, but the house in the pictures was strange to me. I asked my aunt about it, and she said it was the old Wheeler family house. Nobody had lived there for 10 years. I kept asking, and finally, she said she'd take me there. The next morning, we traveled through lots of cornfields until we found a rocky road that took us to the house. Even though the Wheeler house looked old and falling apart, it was special. The paint was worn out, the front porch was drooping, but I couldn't help loving it. I parked close by, and it looked like nobody had been there for a really long time, except maybe some people who take care of the grass. I was really interested in the place. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before. Even the big, fancy old houses in San Francisco wouldn't be as unique as this place, even though it was all broken and falling apart. First, I checked out the backyard. There were old horseshoe pits and my grandpa's really old Ford pickup truck. Even though the house was really old, it had a special charm that I loved. When I went inside, it felt like everything was frozen in time. It was like a museum from when my grandma was alive. What surprised me was that the lights still worked. I later learned that my mom had been paying the bills, hoping that someone in our family would come back to live there one day. As I climbed the stairs, a really bad smell got worse. I wanted to finish fast, so I peeked into each room quickly. In one room, there was a really old quilt on the bed, maybe 100 years old. Then my aunt found an even older photo album in a special chest made of cedar. We thought it was cool and took it. But as we got to the last room, the smell got really, really bad. I was scared, but I thought maybe there was a dead animal that needed to be buried. I opened the door a little and a really bad smell came out. I saw something really scary, a big swollen body on the bed that I couldn't recognize. It made me feel dizzy and I almost fell. My aunt came and looked inside. She quickly moved away. We went downstairs, where the smell wasn't as bad. I called 911 for help. Police came and found a note and a driver's license. When they asked about my mom, I felt really sad because they said it was her. Police officer gave me a note that Mom wrote. She was really upset because of our fights, and the messy house made it worse. Mom didn't want me to feel guilty. She just wanted me to keep going. The note ended with a simple goodbye, Mom. After that, the police checked everything really carefully. They looked all around the house, gathered clues, and talked to the people who lived nearby. They found out that Mom went back to the house to deal with things from her past, but felt really upset because of all the memories and how run down the house was. The doctors confirmed that she died naturally, probably because her health got worse from all the stress she was feeling. The investigation finished and gave a sense of completion, but it also discovered some surprising things. They found old papers showing that the Wheeler family was part of important events in history. People talked about there maybe being treasures or valuable things hidden in the house, so they looked everywhere for them. They found really old stuff like fancy jewelry, expensive paintings, and old papers. Some things seemed connected to stories from a long time ago, suggesting the Wheeler family had secrets. The investigation took a surprising turn, making the old house full of ancient things. This got historians and collectors super interested. While my family and I were sad about losing Mom, I had an idea. I suggested fixing up our house to remember her. We found some really old stuff when we were working on the house. It got me excited about history. With help from my family and the Historical Society, we collected money and fixed up the Wheeler mansion. Now it's a museum that keeps the story of our family and town alive. The day we showed off the fixed-up Wheeler mansion to everyone was really important. Even though something sad happened there before, it became a spot where history and memories mixed together. Mom's legacy kept going because we fixed up the house, turning it into a symbol of how strong our family is and how we never give up.